This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, miniatures, and paints, discount prices at miniaturemarket.com.
The Kingdom of East Anglia saw the birth of their greatest son, an Anglo-Saxon warrior destined to be a champion for the ages and a national treasure for all time.
Hello, everybody. Over when we went to BGG Con, I had gone and I did a great video on a tour that we had over at Reaper Miniatures, which was a fantastic and unbelievable experience. I got a bag full of stuff and I picked up a few things, and we had just done Space Hulk, and I was saying, you know, something would be really cool if we did Warhammer Quest, the old Warhammer Quest, in the next week or two. I go, let me just paint up some stuff. And I knew I had bought some bats because I always wanted to have a different type of bat, because those bats just look so stupid. They're like this with their tongue out. But Reaper had some really great bats. Well, I wanted to go prime them, and I realized I had no black primer. And I go, oh, I'm not going to paint these white. So I looked in the bag, and sure enough, I had a whole bunch of paints. And I go, well, let me try some of this, these Reaper Master paints. And I had pure black, and I had just put it over them, and it just, the coverage and how smooth the paint went on, I was just completely blown away. So I decided to fix a few other things. Well, without further ado, let's go down to the table, and then we'll come back up, and I'll show you some of the things that I was able to fix, and some of the things that are just incredible with these incredible paints, and then we'll come back and talk. So like I said up top, there were some things that I pulled out of a bag that I didn't realize I had, and I had all these beautiful colors that I had gotten on my trip down to Texas. And I started going through things, and I was like blown away. First of all, this catalog is fantastic because it just opened up my imagination to a whole bunch of things. And even though we're kind of talking about paints here, I wanted to talk a little bit about some of these bone figures that are just absolutely ridiculous. Because I started looking at some of this stuff, and I've gotten some of those books from Osprey Games, and I was just like, wow, you know, some of these things are just really cool. But I wanted to paint up those bats because I'm reimagining my Warhammer Quest stuff, and so I decided to want to get them painted. But I realized I didn't have any primer, so I took out this core pure black, and I was just blown away by the coverage I got from it. I mean, this is just absolutely, these are the bats that I was kind of wanted to start working on. And when I saw how beautiful it goes on and how the pigments are just fantastic, I'm really sold on the Reaper paints. I never had a chance to use them. So I had some Godzilla figures that were really messed up, and I decided, well, let me see if it was just that one particular figure. Well, this was all just really tore up, and I ended up using some of these beautiful Reaper Master Series, the pigment and the depth that you get from it. And you could see I was able to just, this high density pigment, and the prices on them, and I want to go back here and show you guys that, you know, these are not that expensive at $3.69 compared to $7 or $8 that you pay for some stuff. I was able to take this white that I had gotten there, and I was able to fix, which I desperately wanted, you know, right before Kobayashi dies, my old Godzilla thing, which was really messed up from traveling many years ago. Both these were messed up, but I was just happy that I was able to get and fix these two particular figures. And the paint and the coverage is just fantastic. I love the pigment on these Reapers, and I'm just completely sold on what we have here for Reaper paint. So there you go. I want to send this up top and close this out, but really blown away by a lot of this stuff. So as you can see, I was completely blown away with the coverage that I got on the Godzilla figures, the paints in general. I ended up with this blade steel, which really comes out and is just beautiful. They're easy to shake up. You're not sitting there like with the Vallejos that I feel that are actually a lesser paint than these master class, these master paints. The pigments, the high density pigments are just incredible to pull out, and I am completely sold on these paints. Now the only thing for me to do is just replace all my paints with them, because I think they're that good. These are just beautiful. I thought, well, maybe it was just a black, but when you saw what I got on the Godzilla Raids Again figure, and then how beautiful the pigment was. And then I started going through this book that I ended up snagging while I was there, and I'm looking, and now all of a sudden my imagination's going. And then I'm looking at all the Reaper, the Reaper Bones Black, and some of these figures are just ridiculous. We were given some of this stuff, but some of these things I had picked up, and I went, oh, these things are really, really cool. First of all, the old ones, the Dark Haven, I like the darker black because it's going to hold the primer a little bit better, especially if you want to do a dark primers, particularly on this type of figure. But some of these figures are just absolutely beautiful. Like I ended up getting this Crimson Herald because I just saw it and I said, this would be kind of cool for Frostgrave. And then I had gotten some Cobalt Mooks also. I mean, you gotta have some Cobalt Mooks because, again, Frostgrave. And I got a Minotaur Barbarian. Why? Frostgrave. So, I'm really excited to kind of get all this stuff going and together and continue on and complete the things that we want to do. But it is these paints that are absolutely mind-blowing. And I'm going to try to replace, I'm going to try to get about $100 or $200 worth of these paints, and really, use the core colors and the professional series that they have, and really kind of step up the game to kind of help you guys develop as well. There's two things here that are really big factors. One, each bottle's a lot cheaper. And two, it feels, when I was moving the paint around, a lot easier to use than some of the stuff that I've been using. My biggest fear with droppers was that, with these little things, was that you would pour too much out and then you would end up wasting paint. But the flow on them is incredible, where it's just not rushing out, and it really does some things. So this is something that we're going to be investigating more, and we're going to be using a lot more, and I really look forward to the next video in this series. I'm going to Dallas next week. I might just go by that Reaper store and buy a whole bunch of paints and bring them home with me. Well, there you go. Until next time, it is your old pal Rob saying, we'll see you soon.